This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first two guests today are both from Thunder Bay Theater. I have Chrissy Cody and Christina Lewis. I'd make sure I got that last name right. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
So good to have you here. And before we start talking about the production we're going to talk about today, tell me, Chrissy, what brought you to Alpena and your acting experience to date?
Okay, well, I graduated in 2014, I have to remember the day, from Rider University in New Jersey with a degree in musical theater. And I moved to New York basically a week afterward, and then I was just mostly auditioning in New York for a while. I did a few shows and cabarets with this company that my friend runs called Infused Cork Productions in New Jersey. And then constantly looking for the next job. I found this job online on a site called Actors Access, and I just submitted like my resume, a reel that I had, and then I just submitted it, went on, and I got email back asking for like a submission video with like a monologue, a song, etc. And then I submitted that, and then I got an interview, and then I got the job, and
Yay.
I accepted.
Yay, well welcome to Alpena.
Thank you.
And Christina, how about you?
I graduated from Rockford University in 2015 in May. I have been at Thunder Bay before. In the fall of 2014, you may remember me from Nonsense Jamboree. I have basically kind of been working off and on ever since I graduated. Last summer I worked at an opera house as an assistant light designer in Colorado, and then I've been working as a light designer ever since. I've done Arsenic and Old Lace, Memory of Water, Snow Queen, and To Kill a Mockingbird, and I'll be doing 9 to 5 right after I leave here.
Oh, yay. So that's your favorite thing to do then, be a light designer?
Yeah, I perform a little bit. I know Jeff and Paige from many, many years ago when we worked together before, and they called me up and they said, hey, we have a job for you. You want to come act? And I said, yeah, I'll come and act.
Wonderful. So what is your favorite type of role to do then when you do act?
I like to play the leading lady who doesn't have a man. So that's just my kind of favorite role. It's just fun to just be independent.
Okay, what about you, Chrissy?
I tend to play like the quirky like character parts, kind of like girl next door type thing, like the best friend usually, the best friend, the comic relief, things like that. I like being funny and get to do random stuff, and though I sometimes do like to scale it back and be like calm and quiet, and I love to sing, so yeah.
Okay, tell me about the production we're going to see coming up at Thunder Bay Theater.
Why Do Fools Fall in Love is a musical about 4 girls.
In the 1960s.
All right.
1966, yeah.
Yes.
And then, so Millie is the main girl, and in Act 1 she's getting married, so it's kind of like, not necessarily a bachelorette party, it's just kind of...
It's the after bachelorette party.
Well, it's a bridal shower, and then we leave, and then we come back, and we're like, that was boring, we're having our own party. And that's basically what Act 1 is. It's just kind of dealing with the men in our lives and love, and it's set to some really amazing songs from the 60s. Which,
like Why Do Fools Fall in Love, and Lonely Boy, and Lonely Boy, and Hurt So Bad.
Wow, some really good songs.
Some good songs that everybody will know and enjoy, and it might bring them back to their time as teenagers in the 60s.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs where I didn't recognize them by like name, and even just looking at them, and then I heard them and I'm like, oh yeah, I know this song.
They're so fun. They're so fun to sing, and they're so fun to just like, it's just a fun show. It really is.
What role do you have?
I play Sally, which is Millie's best friend.
Okay.
She's kind of like the. she's had a lot of boyfriends, and then she kind of is a bit jaded, and it kind of sees the world as it is, and she's sarcastic and funny, and kind of the Rizzo of the group is how we've been saying it.
And I play Florence. We typically call her Flo for short, just for fun, because all the other names are a lot shorter, so it's just, Florence is such a long name. But Florence is kind of the shy girl of the group. She's friends with Sally and Millie, and whenever she drinks, she tends to get a little sassy and quippy at other people, so she's a lot of fun to play.
Okay, and so who are the other roles and who's playing those roles?
So Millie is the main one.
Okay.
She's played by Emily Sinkowski.
Okay.
And then
And then Deanna is playing the character called Dee Dee, who's Flo's younger cousin.
Okay. All right, so when can we come to Thunder Bay Theater to see Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
Well,
we open on Thursday, which is the
March
24th.
Yes,
Okay.
and we play through April 10th.
Okay.
Every Thursday through Sunday. Thursdays through Saturdays are at 7:30, and Sundays are at 2.
Okay, so people better call, better get their reservations,
Yes.
354-2267, because Alpena loves a musical and it will sell out. So we want to make sure you get good seats.
Exactly.
Grab your family, grab your friends, come and see it. And what would you think the rating would be?
The rating would be, oh no, what a question. I would say
definitely
a 5.
PG.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, when you're
PG.
saying PG. We don't really.
maybe PG-13.
Okay.
We don't have any bad language. in
There's
the
no
show.
bad language, but we drink a lot and.
Okay.
It's not.
We're in college. We're just graduating
Okay.
college. So if you imagine girls just graduating college,
Okay.
getting together and having a bachelorette party, that's
Okay.
kind of the idea of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then coming up next, what's coming up next at Thunder Bay Theater?
Coming up next is Half and Half, and that plays.
April 21st through May 8th.
Okay. Will either of you ladies be in that production?
No, we're
Okay.
going home after this one.
Yep.
Okay.
But you will get to meet Deanna and Emily next time on the show.
And
Okay.
Corey's also in it, who I think was on the show last time.
Okay,
for
I remember.
Shrew.
Yep. Okay. All right, I want to thank you both very much for being here, and I look forward to hearing about the wonderful success of Why Do Fools Fall in Love and having people reminisce with all those wonderful songs. And best of luck in your future.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I'll be right back with some information from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary following these messages. Hi, welcome back. My last guest today is Stephanie Gandula from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello.
We were just talking about how quickly lives and time is flying by, and unbelievable, but May 21st is coming up quick, and that's the ROV competition.
It is. It's the ROV competition, and of course, right now we're just in the middle of preparing for it because it's an all-day affair, and students are building their robots right now. Volunteers are helping to build props, and it's so neat to see the whole process because it's not just that day, of course. I mean, a lot of the students take their whole school year to build the robot, and it's pretty neat to see when the missions are released, when the Mate Center in California releases the subject of the missions, and then they can really start designing their robots for that specific mission.
And you know, Steph, when first started coming out with ROVs, I thought, oh, that's really cool. It's a little toy and kids play with it. But you know, when you look at the grand scope of what ROVs do, I remember when the plane was missing, they sent down an ROV to check for a black
Right.
box and a data flight recorder, and you know, in the oil industry, and you know, checking bridges for cracks. I mean, it's unbelievable what ROVs are used for.
That's so true. There are so many real-world applications for ROVs, and you mentioned a whole bunch of them, and there's many more. In fact, this year's mission has the students' ROVs traveling all the way to Jupiter's moon, Europa.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it is amazing what ROVs do in the real world. And so this competition, preparing for the competition, competing in it, is actually really, truly preparing these students for future careers
Oh,
in
yes.
science, technology, engineering, and math. And
Yes.
what they have to do is they design the robot specifically for the missions, like I said, and then they also have to present the robot to a team of engineering judges. And so this is outside of the pool, and they sit there and the judges will, you know, pretty much interrogate them in a friendly way, of course, but they want to know that they, you know, why did they design it this way? And why does it look this way? Why is it this size? And all sorts of ways to, you know, encourage the students to explain the engineering and the design behind their
yes.
robot. So they have to do that. Then they also have to do a technical report. So just like it would be in the real world, if you were answering a request for a proposal, hey, we need this pipe inspected, you'd have to, you know, present to the employer that you could do it, that your robot could do it. And these students do all of those things. So it's so impressive what they do. And this year's mission, like I mentioned, is both taking them to outer space and also into the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow.
So it's a two-part mission. And I actually brought a couple
Yes,
of
I'm
props
so excited.
to show. And these props, our volunteers and staff spend a lot of time building these props because, I mean, they have to be to specifications. The power and the energy to open this door has to be
The
precise.
same for everyone.
Exactly, the same for everyone. And so This is part of the moon, the Jupiter's moon
Okay.
mission. And so what they have to do is this will be lying on the pool bottom,
Okay.
this little frame.
You can hold that up for a second.
Yeah,
while-
and so that's lying on the
Okay.
pool bottom, and then the students have to pick up this device that's sitting there,
Okay.
and they have to pick it up with their robot.
Okay.
Imagine that. And then they come and they have to open this door. Oh, and what this is an environmental sensor platform, I believe.
Okay.
So we are working with scientists on the moon to take readings and things
Oh,
like that.
wow.
And so the robot is helping to gather that information. So they take it off the platform, open the door with their robot, and then insert the device into here. And so
Wow.
keep in mind, this is just one of the tasks that they have to do. A lot of times they have to do these tasks in order. A lot of times, you know, you have to do one thing before the other to get the points. And there's quite a rubric and a point system, but that's just some of the props. In fact, our whole loading dock at the sanctuary is full of props just like this.
Oh, wow. And you know, how exciting, but I wouldn't want to be the first person. I'd want to see how the other people
Right.
do it, you know,
That's
and
true.
any problems that they encounter so that I could fix them. And now,
Right.
say a group of kids has worked, you know, for a whole year on this. They get there and something malfunctions with their robot. Are they done?
You know, they have, I believe it's 2 attempts. So
Okay.
they're not, you know, you rarely see that. In fact, the 5 years I've been doing this, I have not seen that happen. There can be, though, kind of disastrous, I don't want to say meltdowns, but, you know, breakdowns.
Yeah.
Things can break, and these students are really well prepared, a very mature group of students, and that's why we have a number of different prizes. Like, if, for example, that did happen, where you say something breaks down pretty catastrophically, we have a duct tape award.
Oh, yay.
Right, so, I mean, and that pretty much is for a team that would handle something like that very well, and either able to fix it and be resourceful, or else just deal with it very well. And you mentioned watching the teams do their missions. That's something that we've been able to do at the pool, is to have a live video feed from the pool broadcast into the gym. So, and that's a fun place to be too,
Oh, I
because you
bet.
can watch all the stations and how the robot's maneuvering in the water, and if they're succeeding.
Well, I remember a story, and you probably know better than I do. My granddaughter's class was on their way out to plant some fish, and part of it blew off the truck or something.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Part of the robot?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that wasn't something they anticipated, but they
Right.
ended up getting there, getting it all together, and they ended up planting fish in the lake.
Oh, wonderful.
With the robot. Isn't that cool?
Well, yeah, and that's a
That's
lesson
an
for sure.
elementary school.
That is impressive, and that's true. There's students from first grade up to university. And I mean, what a lesson to have your robot, you know, maybe run over or destroyed and be
Yeah.
able to put it back together.
Okay, so we need volunteers.
Absolutely. As you can tell, it's a huge event.
Yes.
In fact, it's our, you know, we rely on volunteers most for this event throughout the year of all the events we do. And there's all sorts of different opportunities. The most time-consuming probably and serious one would be the judging, because all these tasks that I've been talking about and the missions and the point system, you really have to know them very well. And so judging, but it's a very rewarding position.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, we have judges that have been doing it for the last 10 years, and they
I
come
wouldn't
back.
want anything to do with that part.
I don't like it either. It stresses me out.
Oh, yeah.
But the judges, we need lots of good judges.
Okay.
And if you haven't judged before and you want to, all sorts of ample training too.
Okay.
So it's not nothing to be afraid of. You just have to be, willing to commit some time. There's also folks that help serving lunch, folks helping with what we call wrangling, and that's
Okay.
kind of a fun one, because what you're doing is you're escorting teams throughout the whole high school
okay.
campus, because they got to be at the pool for their mission at this time. They got to be, in the cafeteria for lunch at this time. They got to do their presentation at this time. So we implemented a plan where volunteers will lead them around to keep them on task and on time. That's a fun one, because
Okay.
you get to wander all
Oh,
over and
sure.
see the action. There's also registration judges, make sure that they've got all their registration packets in order, and scorekeeping, as being an assistant scorekeeper.
Okay.
And those are just a few, and you can volunteer for a couple hours, or you can volunteer for the whole day.
And it's May 21st, so check your
right.
calendar, and if you can help Stephanie and everyone at the Marine Sanctuary out, give you a call at?
At 989-356-8805, and my extension will come right to me is 38.
Okay, we're out of time. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Stephanie.
Thanks, Nancy.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Good morning. I am Jay Walterwright, Director of Public Information and Marketing for Alpena Community College, and this is the ACC portion of Talk of the Town. With me this morning is Nick Breggy, our Director of Facilities at the college. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here.
Good to be here.
We were just talking about the things that were happening around the college campus. It's very exciting these days due to the fact that the snow is melting and we can see the ground, and it's making us think about spring.
Right. And with spring comes grounds and landscaping and all that good activity, which I'd like to touch on. One of the new things that we have going on at the campus is a campus beautification committee.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, the campus beautification committee, it's a new committee. We formed about a month ago. And the need for the committee was really raised because a lot of people were coming to me with good ideas and about how we could improve the campus and the way it looks. And they're all good ideas, but some of them were conflicting. Beauty's a relative subject, so everyone has their own opinions, but I think the committee is diverse enough that we can gather and decide on the best approach for different projects and really make a big impact.
What types of projects are we talking about here?
Well, the first project we looked at was the Besser Tech lobby area. We see there's a need for improvement there. There were several ideas about how we could go about that improvement. Things like refurnishing it, replacing the carpet, adding new artwork. So taking those ideas and prioritizing them, and then also looking at basically a three-pronged approach to prioritization, looking at the visibility of the project, the impact that it would make, and then what are the barriers to implementation. One of those barriers is cost.
Usually that's a problem.
Yeah,
yes.
it's something that needs to be discussed. And then the other is how much of a disruption is the project going to be for everyday campus activity. So the committee gathers, discusses these options or these brainstorms, and basically individually rates how they think that they would fall in those areas: impact, visibility, and barriers to implementation. Projects that score low in barriers to implementation but high visibility, high impact, those ones are easy to tackle. They move their way to the top of the list quickly. And then you get into a second category that's maybe a medium cost but high impact, high visibility, and that's when we really dig a little deeper and we discuss, well, what types of color schemes or what design format do we want to go forward with, and then obviously that format gets spread onto the new projects that we would take on. So we have sort of a common theme throughout campus. So it's a three-pronged approach to the prioritization and the brainstorming, and then from there it's just a matter of procuring the appropriate resources and then implementation. The committee's responsibility really stops once we identify the project and we prioritize it, and that's when the facilities kind of takes over and does the implementation and procures resources. But I'm really excited about the committee. We have a very diverse group that has a lot of great ideas, and I think you'll see a big change in the campus very quickly, especially as we move to through that first step of low cost and high impact and high visibility projects. The other responsibility of the committee may be, as we move forward with renovation projects, we can look at, typically the traditional way of looking at renovation is you hire an architect, you hire designers, you hire people who give you what they think you want for an appearance. I think we have a very creative staff, a lot of talent, and I think we can maybe present our own thoughts and ideas on what we want these renovation projects to look like, and so that would be another maybe area that the committee could be useful.
Well, great. I know you've had a large impact on campus already, just in your short time at the college, and there's some other projects going on too. Why don't you talk about those?
At the EPTC, which the Electrical Power Technology Center, the Ferris Worth building, we recently added 3 kiosks. Actually, we energized the 3 kiosks that we have there to display power generation from our windmill and our solar panels. And we also have a third monitor that's showing a rolling clips of the types of activities that the utility tech graduates would be working on and a little bit of information about that program. So it's just when you walk into the main lobby of that building, it's the first thing you see, and it's kind of interesting to see how those alternative energy sources are generating the power, and it's really interesting to see what the students are actually doing in that program. Secondly, last fall we added 2 electrical vehicle charging stations on campus, and those are open for public use. The only thing that people need to do to get registered for that is come see us at the facilities office. We'll take down the information, and then there's a card that it's an RFID card that we issue, and that will activate the chargers so that people with electric cars, either coming into town and visiting, or if they live here in town and they want to find some place to charge their vehicle, they can come to our campus and use our chargers.
That's neat. Is there a cost involved?
There is a deposit put down for the card, and then there's a parking rate that we apply, which would hope to recover the cost of the electricity and obviously make it so that the college isn't losing money on the project.
Sure.
Small cost, but that whatever portion is unused would be returned when the card is returned. So.
Sure. Well, that's great. I know that there have been a lot of developments with the EPTC. It opened last January, but we only had this summer to do the landscaping and take care of all those other things, and it's looking very nice right now. I'm very interested to see what it looks like this summer.
Yeah, and as we move forward into the summer, the Campus Beautification Committee, when things start to leaf out, we'll branch out into the outdoor areas and try to make a more impressive visual appearance from the roadside as well.
Well, I'm sure that'll look great. Well, maybe we'll have you back this summer to talk about all the changes that have gone on.
That'd be great.
Well, that's all of our time. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I am Jay Walterwright, Director of Public Information and Marketing for Alpena Community College, and this is Talk of the Town.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts, Nancy Smitham and Don McMaster. For a list of events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on the community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.
The Talk of the Town furniture and set design are provided by Young Appliance Art Van Furniture on US 23 South in Alpena.